Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Chief Sweet. Today we're going to be looking for like leaves, sticks, any type of nice little clutter and decorations we could put into an enclosure. And I'm going to be going through the wild and I'm going to be showing you what's safe, what's not safe, because I'm actually in the middle of like nowhere. But even in the middle of nowhere, humans have figured out a way to infiltrate the wilderness. I'm like 10 miles from town right now, and the town is like 30 miles from an actual city. It's pretty far in the wilderness. It's by a river, but the power lines are like feeding different places out in the wilderness, oil rigs, whatever. And when they chop down trees around the power lines, they actually spray it with chemicals that can be dangerous to your lizards or whatever you have. So I will show you what's safe and what is not safe. So let's get to it. Let's get harping, shall we? So one of the first things I like to bring with me is a bucket and machete. And I do that because I live in Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, there's tons of rattlesnakes and very venomous snakes, like copperheads and whatever it is, that I don't really want to run into and get bit. So I could throw a machete at it and run away, or try to try not to get into it, or just try to avoid it, period. But also machete is for cutting down trees and stuff I see out in the wilderness. The bucket is for rocks and whatever. So here we are. If you can see, these are power lines. And if you look around me, you notice that like there's forest and then there's nothing. And that's because they come through here with four-wheelers and they have a giant tank and they just spray killer all over the place, all in this area. And that's what we gotta watch out for. There's tons of good sticks I'm looking at, good rocks, and I don't want any of this. This is what you want to stay away from, because this could have poison on it. This could hurt your amphibians for sure. So stay away from stuff like this. Want to know something even crazier? Is I've been walking along trying to get to a creek, and when I was walking along this area here, I found a gas line that is leaking in the middle of nowhere. And that's probably why nobody knows it was leaking, but I can smell the natural gas. Look, this is it right here. So there's the pipeline. But as soon as I came over here, and there's a crossway, as soon as I came over here, I could smell the natural gas, which is pretty crazy. I need to call these guys right there. There's a number on there. So you never know what you're gonna find while looking for things in the middle of nowhere. I know it doesn't look like the middle of nowhere, but I'm telling you right now, I have no service. If I get bit by anything, it's gonna be a long ways to the hospital. So we've made it to the creek that I like to get my sticks and my stones from. And it was a bit of a hike. If I'm a little out of breath, that's why. One thing I would like to say is make sure to look at which trees are toxic to which lizards and whatnot. The most toxic one is cedar, and there is one right here. So if you saw that and you're like, oh, that's a perfect, that's a perfect tree, I would love to have that for my enclosure. It is toxic, so you're gonna have to look at trees. But the reason I like to get some tree limbs from the creeks is because they actually become like beechwood over time. They're dead, but they're like almost like solid petrified wood. It's beechwood. I don't know how else to describe it. Also, the rocks through here, they're smooth usually. They're pretty nice rocks because the water comes over it. I'm at the edge of the the kill zone, as I like to call it. Other than that, what an eventful day. I haven't even got started and I found a gas leak, craziness. Got to tell you a little about stuff, but let's get started. This is what I'm going into. This is actually the woods. I know also be careful of runoffs, because if you do get things from creeks, be careful what it runs off of. Some places are located near like toxic dumps and stuff like that. This is located on one of my ponds. This is my land. Make sure to get, if you're on land, make sure to get permission to be on the land. This is my land, so I'm okay with that. And that's why I know nobody lives out here. It's because it's my land. But this creek leads to a pond, and it's just a runoff from a pond to the road. So that's how I know this is safe, because the pond's safe, this runoff is safe, and so that's where I'm going hunting for sticks and stones. As you can tell, this is the entrance. Be very careful as well, because like I said, if you do live in a place where there's snakes, you have to watch out for poisonous things. But as you can tell, it is very beautiful through right there. And that's where I want to hunt for some wonderful things. And this place right now is just filled with baby wolf spiders everywhere. But look how beautiful that is. Oh my goodness. And see, this is the woods. This is where I want to get tree limbs and the stones. As you can tell, there's tons of beautiful stones right there, and that's what I'm going to try to get. Also, what I like to do is I like to get a stone, like, I don't know, say one like this. I have a lot of sandstone, and you don't know if it's just going to be breakable and stuff like that. I'll just drop it down. Good stone. But let's go ahead and get with something that's a little thinner. You can usually tell what is sandstone or what's not, but just just to let you know what's a good stone, what's not a good stone. Right here is a great stone. I like to get my machete, flip it over, make sure there's no baby penny rattlers. But look, this is a great stone right here. Look at that, perfect basking stone. Love this stone. This one's going home with me. Also, one thing I would like to show while I'm looking around, if you look over here, there's actually some wild moss growing. So if you're into that sort of thing, moss for your, you know, terrariums, vivariums, whatever have be, look at this beautiful moss growing right under here. I mean, look at that. It is absolutely stunning. Oh my goodness. You go ahead and take a little piece off of that. So for instance, I've just found the stone to show you what I mean. It's kind of sandy. It looks a little broken, the chip right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drop it like this. See how it just shattered into a lot of pieces? That's sandstone. I don't really want that. I want a solid, good rock. So that's how I like to test it out. And I just did another one right there, and as you can tell, it just cracked all the way down. And so I want a good solid rock. If it bounces off and doesn't break, most rocks will break, but you know, I want something that's gonna last a while. I don't want to be throwing away rocks in my backyard. So that's how I do it. And I always get good rocks doing it this way. Also, I would like to add, if you are wondering why I'm looking for sticks out in the woods and not buying them from Petco, because I know Petco and like PetSmart sell those and stuff. They have some pretty cool looking sticks. The only thing I will buy that is literally like wilderness stuff is cork bark, because cork bark looks amazing and it does not grow where I'm from, and I love cork bark. So that's the only thing I will buy. Rocks, sticks, those I will not buy, because I'm like, dude, they're expensive for one, and I don't have that kind of money. I obviously spend my money on tanks and other things. Building as well, you're trying to save money any which way. This hobby is a little expensive that way, and because of that, I don't want to pay $15 for something I could find in my backyard. It's a little sassy, but you know, I'm trying to save money wherever I can save money. So that's why I am out here in the wilderness, sweating, out of breath, looking for stuff, because the sunshine's good for you and saving money is good for you. Okay, so I am back. I'm home. I'm washed up, and it was a good rock haul, but it wasn't a good tree haul or like stick haul. I have a real hard time finding stuff like that in Oklahoma. A lot of cedar trees. And the wood, if it falls on the ground, it's going to get eaten up by like insects and all kinds of stuff all the time. However, I will say this may be a shock to you, but how I clean my things is very simple. I know a lot of people like to use the Clorox method, where you fill your bathtub up, you put the wood in there, you like weigh down the wood so it gets submerged, and you put like a little cup of Clorox in the water and leave it overnight. And there's the baking method, which if you want to do these methods, you can. That's why I'm saying them. You heat your oven to 250 degrees and you put it in the oven, and it usually just kills anything on the wood. Nothing will survive. But I do not do that. I literally just wash them. I just get them and I fill up a little bucket of like warm, really hot water actually. And I just get a scrubber, a very firm scrubber. I put it in there and I just scrub it down. And that's really just to get the old dirt off. That's all it is. And I make sure to like kind of clean it up sometimes. The wood I got was actually from a beaver dam, around a beaver dam, and they chewed it up. So obviously there was like this parts of the thing, and I just cut that off with a jigsaw. Once I cut it off, I just scrubbed it down and I grabbed it and I threw it in the enclosure. That's all I do. I just dry it off a little bit, and oh, actually, forgive me, I put it outside and let the sun hit it for like a few days. I almost forgot that part. And I just let the sun hit it for a few days. If you don't even, honestly, you don't even have to do that. I feel like if you wanted to. And I've done this for years. I've always done this because I was too poor as a kid to go out to PetSmart and buy like a large piece of wood for $70. You know, I'm not gonna do that. I can go out, like I said, in my yard, which is, I will admit, it is a little bit harder to do that. I will say the rocks, they're rocks. I just wash the dirt off them and then I throw them in my enclosure, and I'll show you what it looks like right here. Alright, so here is a new enclosure I'm building. This will be on the YouTube channel. It's a tutorial video, but these are some of the rocks I found, and as you can tell, they're just in there. You know, I just rinsed their dirt off them. Oh my goodness, I can't speak. Rinsed the dirt off them, threw them in here, and that's exactly what I did. And the wood is going to be going in this enclosure. But anyways, like I said, my method, I like my method. I feel like it works. It's always worked, and I'm not afraid, you know, of putting it in my enclosures. I do it all the time, and that's how I do it, guys. So if you want to go out and grab that stuff, like I said, the reason I made this video is so that way it would prepare people. The real thing I worry about is like poisons from humans, because like I said, I live down in the middle of nowhere. It's really far, but they come out there and just spray poison all over the place, you know, and that scares me. I don't want that. I definitely don't want that in my enclosure. So that's why I was like, be careful. Look for runoffs, because you might grab something and it runs off of like a dump, because dumps are around. It's like thing. humans are destroying the environment, that's what you should be worried about. So that's really why I made the video. And plus to, like, you know, just let people know it's okay to get things from outside. The lizards and reptiles and amphibians and everything live outside. They might not live in your area. That's why I said make sure to Google or look it up to see what type of wood would be safe for your lizard, your amphibian, or whatnot. But other than that, it's okay to get stuff from outside. A lot of people put cork bark in their enclosures, and most animals don't have cork bark where they're growing. Because I'm seeing this a lot in the hobby of, like, you have to sterilize everything. They can't be on substrate. They can't do this. They can't do that. You have to have them in a lab environment with just 4 white walls, and it has to be Cloroxed every 5 seconds. Let the wild back in the cages. Anyways, guys, I'm sorry. This was a kind of like a rant video and stuff like that. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I helped you. Thank you for watching.